I'm a little bit sick, so if I sound a bit weird, then I'm sorry about that, but let's get straight into it. Plantsvszombies Garden Warfare 3, Battle for Neighborville, is a game that was loved by all. Except it wasn't, and somehow this game is more dead than the other two. It's really unfortunate that this might be the last Plantsvszombies game we get on consoles, and it's even worse that a lot of people left this game before really giving it a fair chance. This game can be fun, it can be interesting, but there were a few mistakes made by the developers, and we'll go into those very soon. PopCap and Electronic Arts put their short little fat hands all over this game, holding and squeezing until this game had no life left. Just like other games, they added so many microtransactions and awful decisions that the main game is like a diamond under stone. A game that had potential to make so much money, losing money due to these decisions. Just like grabbing water, this game slipped through our fingers. Let's start with the campaign, which this game has. Well, kind of. There are, to my knowledge, 2 different levels for each side, 2 of them for the plants and 2 of them for the zombies. Essentially, these are like worlds. You access them and enter through these little guys planted outside. Get it? Planted. I really like this side of the game, actually. For all this game did wrong, this was an upgrade from the second game. In these levels, you have pretty basic storytelling. You have objectives like collecting coins or items and killing this zombie or plant. You are tasked with killing some enemies and collecting their piece for an object that needs to be built by the end of it. After collecting these pieces, you can finish the final project, and once that's done, just kill the final boss. And yes, you heard that right, bosses. And these aren't those bosses from Garden Ops. Well, they are, but they have actual movesets and waves, even phases. And these are really fun to complete and play. There are also collectibles scattered throughout the entire map, like gnomes and chests. These can be found normally or by buying some maps and put all these on the map and that's the location. There are also quests and battles and many other activities to complete. But is this considered a campaign? I think that's for you to decide. Do many worlds and missions count as a single player mode? And if it does, is it enough? Does it fulfill that story mode space that we all wish it did? These are all real and legitimate questions and some we all have to ask ourselves. And other than these philosophical questions, there isn't much to talk about here. The single player campaign has some fun storytelling, great boss fights, and some cool characters, and I had a good time spending a couple hours playing. Now, I think it's time to talk about the gravy of this turkey, but that gravy is spoiled and Mom forgot to throw it out 3 weeks ago. It's time to talk about the new characters added to the game. There are 3 added to each side, and all of them have their own unique abilities, items, and upgrades. And of course, if you watched my video on Garden Warfare 2, you know I hate talking about characters. I'm going to keep this quick and simple. On the zombie side, we have some pretty cool dudes. And girls? Yep, for the first time we have females in Plantsvszombies. But let's talk about the man first. 80s action hero is your average, 80s action hero. With his long and wild hair and love for explosions. He carries a bow that shoots 5 arrows, or can be held down to charge 3, and then 1. The only thing is this bow kinda sucks. 80s action hero doesn't have a ton of damage, at least not with his basic weapon. His first ability is his dodge, which sends a stick of dynamite behind, and he has an auto-target rocket launcher and a rocket ride which does a lot of damage. Next up is Space Cadet, who has a laser blaster that shoots homing shots. Space Cadet is our first female zombie, and she has some really cool moves to boot. She can launch to the air and then crash down, doing a really good amount of damage. She also shoots a laser just like the hover goat in the last one, and a unique feature is her being able to combine with other Space Cadets to form a space station, and this does a surprising amount. And lastly, we have Electric Slide, the only character with a name. She's a really strong semi-automatic fire speed with electricity. She can throw these magnetic balls that pick up players and throw them across the map. She can also send an electric tornado that goes forward and can kill really quickly. And she can become an orb just like Rose and become invincible. This might be my favorite new zombie of the bunch. And on the plant side, we will start with Mushroom Crab, a brand new plant that shoots ninja stars. She can throw a big orb of shadow where her and her teammates can become invincible. She can turn herself invincible and move faster. And she can pull a Reaper from Overwatch and kill everybody around her. I really like this design, it's cool, it's stealthy, and it's really well made. Next is Acorn. He is a little buddy that shoots a mini little acorn blaster. He can shoot sap that explodes over a little bit of time and can send Acorn flying. He can also spin forward and has the same ability where he transforms into oak, where others can join him. And he can send a log or bigger sap. And lastly, but certainly not least, my favorite of the bunch, Snapdragon. He has a swooping attack where he is sent in the air and slams down where the marker is. He can send out a ball of fire and create a wall of flames. Or he can send a fireball just like Super Rains, but like with fire. and his main attacks are his Fire Breath and Fireball. Snapdragon is one of my favorite plants, not just in this game, but all of the franchise. All these characters are so unique, and I love every ability and weapon. I kept saying this in all these episodes, but I just love the Plantsvszombies designs. The overall feel of the game is also amazing. There's so much fun in the air, so many wacky characters of jokes, I mean, come on. Each map feels really fun and inclusive, with many routes to get to your objectives. Many modes are here to be played, but I must say, if I play Garden Warfare, all I play is Gardens and Graveyards. I know, what a shocker. But it's time to switch the music, and you know what that means. There are many problems that plague this game, and I mean many problems. But first let's talk about the thing that they couldn't have gone wrong. Right? Right? Oh man, what the hell? So these are our new sticker packs. Yep, more loot boxes are just what we needed. So instead of spending 15k coins on a new sticker pack that contains a bunch of new cosmetics for all your favorite characters, you now get one lousy item. And this costs double that. 30k for one item is outrageous. The only way this could get any worse is if they added a battle pass. Oh no. So this is our way to get new items. Or it was, since it's now just repeated passes with the same damn items. You can use these bulbs to get items on these paths. It's honestly not the worst battle pass. It's free and you get currency pretty fast. So overall, I'm fine with this addition. But as long as it doesn't have any characters or broken moves. Oh no. Are you kidding me, EA? Again? The same thing over and over and you never learn. The way to players' hearts is not to cut open the chest, man. It's to give us love and content. And after these passes, we're done. They just put them in the shop for later and put them up for currency. And what kind of sucker would buy these things for real life money? Oh no. So yeah, I bought them. I bought it all. Why? Because I wanted it. No, but really, I wanted to try everything. And when they put them in the store, I thought it was finally time to see what all the fuss was about. So now let's talk about something I didn't mention when going over the characters. Something that was really controversial was abilities, and I'm here to add another controversial opinion to the mess. Abilities were the only way to move forward. There just wasn't another way that made much sense. Many people dislike the system, and it's understandable why. Each of the 10 levels lead to prestige, and from that prestige you are awarded abilities. Now some of these can be really cool, like homing peas with a pea shooter, but others are like shooting further beam bombs. Sure, it changes the weapon a little, but it stings a little to waste time for nothing. But would you rather this game just be another few characters and variants? Eventually that would be so boring, no? This was the way to go. It was just done wrong. Instead of flat out getting rid of every variant, keep them! Instead of just new abilities, have the options to change your variant. It'd be so nice to have fire peas with homing shots and extra XP. It's just such a weird decision to cut everything that made the original, well, original. You don't even need to add more. Of course, some for the new characters, but not even one was needed for the older ones. Now there is a second part of the conversation that blends together with microtransactions. In the battle pass, there were abilities added to the game, and one of these is really overpowered. There was a shield for the corn, spears for the rose, a steam gun for the scientist, and oh no, the rocket punch and uppercut for the super brains. These are legendary abilities and take up more space, but they also change the gameplay a lot, and are essentially what variants should have been. There were a few more items added to the battle pass, some skins and some other items here and there. And heroes? They added more heroes. They added a total of 3 heroes? You heard that right, an uneven amount of characters. So the entire game can be considered uneven. And if you wanted to put it some way, there was one more character added to the game, since 2 of them are just models used from the game. And they have the same abilities. But yeah, I should go over them. So let's go over one character that feels unique. The wizard is that character from PVZ 2. And there is another amazing design added to the list. The wizard can teleport onto the head of another player using his blaster and abilities. He can make teammates invincible with his potion, and can slam his staff down and kill anyone nearby. And his weapon is pretty good. You can shoot beams that do a little bit of damage, or you can hold it down for an orb that kind of sucks, but you can fix it with upgrades. Which further proves my point that this game had great ideas. And there was another character added, the TV head and wildflowers. The 2 of these guys are just copy and pasted with a few different models, so let's just go with the TV head. You can place a respawn point on the ground, a grenade that is surprisingly good, and can send out an imp that explodes, one-shotting most enemies. And you can shoot TV dinners. These are really fun characters, but oh my god, just make them different, please. And why in God's name is there only one plant? They couldn't have spent one more season making a new hero? It's just now unbalanced. But that doesn't really change anything since this game doesn't play like Overwatch, where imagine if you could only play as Genji on Team 2. Now, some of the characters have been updated with new abilities, like Cactus with a new movement tool to move about the map, or Pea Shooter who got hyper readjusted and now lets you hover. Some of these were really needed, and it's more like this game to stand out from the other two, and I think it at least did that. Kind of. The game has a much different art style from that of the other two, and some will really hate it, but others, like me, will find each new style a refreshing change. Okay, but not like that. Like, for example, this Pea Shooter. He looks great. Whoa, what the hell? So yeah, we can sprint now. For some unknown reason, developers thought that doing something that has been known not to work. This makes you feel so slow. There was no reason to add something like that. In fact, I don't think a single person was hoping they added this. The problem with sprinting is it just makes you press more buttons, slowly both killing your sprint button and your sanity. The fact that the sprinting is so bad is saddening. And oh my god, look at these stupid animations. Just look at Space Cadet. Are you telling me someone looked at this and said, "Oh yeah, that looks great"? I don't want to have that person at my wedding. There are other aspects of this game that have some annoying attributes, but there are a couple of changes that make a little bit more sense, like Cactus having an automatic shooter or Chomper shooting balls of goop. Citron got his weapon changed for some reason, but other than that, the game has good mechanics and graphics, just like the last two. Garden Ops makes a return, and it's really different, so let's hop into a private match and see what this is about. You no longer have the option to choose where to plant your gardens. It's a bit weird, but it's a change and I'll take it. And would you look at that? No more AI, the thing that made the second game's Garden Ops kind of fun alone. You can still plant some pots, but they're on a cooldown and not what you have since, well, they got rid of the sticker packs. The wave seems the same, but what's this? Only 5 wave? That's a weird one, but I kinda like it. I mean, 10 rounds was just way too long, but now without teammates, this mode is just boring. I could be bothered less to actually complete this shit. The main map has a middle adventure just like the last one, but this one sucks. It's bland and boring and I almost never head down there. And it's all online now, so there isn't a flag mode or secret chest. Well, there is, but I won't get into that. While this game has been a pretty big disappointment, it's not the worst game on the market. It's sad to see a game like this play so low. It has something, but it just doesn't explore it. And this game was almost never advertised. I swear this was released somehow and I never knew. I only saw it in the PlayStation shop and by that time it was already out for a while. Maybe I was just left out, but I always find out about games I like. And when I own Garden Warfare 1 twice and Garden Warfare 2 twice, it's weird that this one was out my view. At this point in time, I reached level 300, and trust me, I got some of those just recently. I spent money recently, I spent hours playing the campaign, spent days on multiplayer, and I have to say, this is one of the most disappointing games that released. In some ways, it's more disappointing than Cyberpunk. There was so much they could have done right, and so little wrong. And yet, well, look what happened. If they just looked at what made the last two games so fun, they would understand that it's the characters, the variants, and the people, not the DLC or the loot boxes or the battle pass. The game is still fun and I compel everyone to play it. I like to try the new characters, but this game just doesn't have it. This game is the last of the Plantsvszombies games first-person shooters. It's over, and this is what they left us with. It's crazy to think that this game is what we will most likely have for the foreseeable future. BFN is not a garbage game. It has features that everyone will like. It has a single player mode that connects to kids and adults alike, with witty writing, and even I laughed at it. It has good multiplayer, if not a little boring, and brought in new heroes that are all super cool, and even new features to spice up that combat. But it was ruined by the thing that keeps it alive. And that's all I can say about it. Such an average game with so much potential. Plantsvszombies Battle for Neighborville is a solid 65. Recommended to play, but not highly. The game has great characters, an interesting campaign, and a new innovative changes. But on the other hand, the game has greedy, outrageous microtransactions, and less content than that of the last one. On the tier list, it is placed in the A category, placing it third, right behind the first game. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.